everything will be uploaded, everything will be uploaded, everything will be uploaded on the channel soon. Perfect. Hello everyone, welcome back to another exciting video. Now this video is going to be the continuation of our deep learning playlist. First video is already there, in which we talked about the basics, like what is deep learning, why we should use deep learning, and why this deep learning is getting a lot of popularity. We also observed a little architecture of a neural network, small a small multi-layer perceptron. We also talked about some process. Now today in this video we'll be talking about in-depth intuition about the neural network. What is exactly this term neural network, from where it came from, what do we understand by a neural and by a network of neurons, right? So everything we'll be talking about, some more better architecture of a neural network, right? Now again, this deep learning or this neural network is an artificial technique that we use in order to make the machines learn, right? Now, this artificial technique is completely derived from the way humans learn. Okay, so now let's take a interesting and simple example. Suppose this is Sardar Khan. Okay, now how I know that this is Sardar Khan? I must have seen this person, this picture somewhere, this image somewhere in my during at any of the state. I must have seen this thing, this person, this image, and by that time I got to know, okay, this is Sardar Khan, right? Now similarly, if I want to make a software, simple, let's take a small example. I want to create an engine, I want to create a small artificial brain that can detect the character from a given image. Okay, so in order to implement that thing, we need to understand how humans detect the character. So at the very first time, when I have not watched the Gangs of Wasseypur, I will not be able to identify that this is Sardar Khan or this is Faisal Khan, right? But the time I watched the Gangs of Wasseypur, I was learning, I was getting a lot of training data, I was observing, I was taking the inputs along with the label that this person, this character, this image belongs to a character named Sardar Khan, and this image belongs to a character named Sultan. Okay, so I was learning, I was watching the movie, I was taking the inputs of the images, right? And along with the images, I was also getting the labels. So if we all know about the machine learning, we know the target variable and the input variables. The target variable is basically the label. So I was getting the input variable, the input information, that is the image, and I was also getting the label that this image belongs to this person, this character is a Sardar Khan. So my brain is trying to map it, it's trying to generate some rule to map the input and output. So this image, that is input, and the output is Sardar Khan. So the brain is trying to learn some rules in that way, so that the brain can identify that character. Next time when it sees that character, the brain will identify it as a Sardar Khan. So what happens? I was watching a movie, I was getting the input data, that is the image, along with the label that this belongs to this person, XYZ person, right? And the brain created those rules. The brain created those rules to identify this image as a this specific person. So how it goes? There is an input, okay? Now there is a human brain, and there is an output, that is the like what exactly is this person, right? Input, human brain, person. So at in the beginning, we feeded this human brain the image and the output both. Okay, this person is Sardar Khan. We have given this information to the brain. Brain learned the rules, and now when we will give the image, the brain will process the information, this image, in such a way that it will give a right output, that is the Sardar Khan, right? So that's how human brain works exactly. So if there are any questions, guys, please drop it in the comment. The same thing we will try to implement in the neural network. So now neural network is an artificial architecture of a brain. How the brain works? We have neurons. What are neurons? Neurons are the unit, memory units that can store and process the information. Okay. Similarly, we create some artificial neurons We create the layers of neurons. I'll show you the architecture in the, when I'll start sharing my screen. There are neurons, some layers of neurons are there. The information is fed into the neurons. Some XYZ mathematics, some calculation will happen during the, processing of that information. We gave the image of character into a neural network. The neural network will take the information, it will do the calculation, and whatever is the property of the neural network, it will do the calculation and everything, and it will give some output. We will check whether the output is correct or not. If the output is correct, we will, we will, like, it's good, the calculation is going correctly. But if the output is not correct, we will tell the neural network that you are not giving the right output. Update your processing, update your calculation, so that you have to give this specific output only. So given input, the neural network is processing the input, giving the output. Now we are observing whether the output is correct or not. If it's not correct, we are again back propagating the neural network. We are telling that no, you are not getting a right input, so you need to correct this. You need to actually make your calculation more accurate, more you need to improve your calculation to give the right outputs, right? So that's how architecture of a neural network, that's how the basic flow of the information will be in the neural network. Now I'll try to understand it in more better when I'll start sharing my screen, so that we can understand the neurons, the layers, how the information is being processed, and how we are getting the output, and how we are training, how we are improving the predictions, or how we are improving the outputs. Okay, so let's get to there. Okay, so welcome to the screen, guys. So now I have did a little bit of drawing, and now we'll try to understand the flow of neural network here. Okay, now again, we are not getting into too much mathematics right now. We will only understand the data flow, how the neural network, what exactly is the architecture, how they learn and everything. In the next video, we'll be talking about the mathematics. Then we will pick some, small data example, and we'll try to classify, or we'll try to do some sort of small solution by the, functioning of the neural network. So as of now, again, it's not very much mathematical. It's basic, a little bit technical to understand the architecture of a neural network. Perfect. Now, this is the neural network. This is an artificial neural network where we have multiple layers and the neurons in it, right? There are multiple layers and the neurons in every layer. Now the number of layers and the number of neurons are subjective. The number of layers and neurons depends upon the data sets and depends upon the problem statement. What kind of problem statement do we have, right? So now it could be anything. We can definitely tune the number of neurons and the number of layers. Let's take a hypothetical example. Right now we have a dummy, we have a small dummy neural network in which we will try to classify the image. Okay, so now this is the person, and we need to identify whether this person is let's say, let's take two possible outcomes. I would say Sardar Khan. Okay, Sardar Khan or Shrikant Tiwari. Shrikant Tiwari. I hope we all know about these two characters, Sardar Khan or Shrikant Tiwari. Now we need to identify, we need to train a neural network that can identify that this person is Sardar Khan, not Shrikant Tiwari. Okay. Now, who is Shrikant Tiwari? I'll show you another example for the Shrikant Tiwari. Okay. Now, right now we have the image of Sardar Khan. This neural network is completely random, zero learning, zero understanding. So let's assume this first is the input layer, right? That's the input layer. Okay. This is the input layer and this is the output layer. Okay. This is the output layer. Okay. Now input layer will simply take the input. We have the image of Sardar Khan. Let's say it's 100 cross 100 pixels. So this is going to have 10,000 pixels. Now this first input neuron, input layer is going to have 10,000 neurons. It will take the numbers like pixel intensity of every 10,000 pixels. So there'll be 10,000 neurons that will carry the pixel intensity of all the 10,000 neurons, 10,000 pixels. Okay. Now all these 10,000 numbers will be passed to some parameters, some random parameters. Just like right now, assume it as a black box, some XYZ calculation is happening, and based on that calculation, the data is generated for the next layer. Now, again, some calculation is happening on the next layer, and again, it is generating some numbers for the third layer. And this step is keep on going until we have the information at the output layer, last layer. Now, assume these two neurons represents the character. This neuron represents Sardar Khan. This neuron represents Shrikant Tiwari. In the beginning, when the neural network is not trained, it can give any random output, right? It could be any random output. So right now it's a Sardar Khan, but the neural network is not actually trained to detect this character as a Sardar Khan. So this will simply give any random output. Now, based on that output, but we know that this is a Sardar Khan, we will tell this neural network that the input, what you are taking, the image, what you are referring to, it belongs to the Sardar Khan. So try to update the calculation in your network. Whatsoever calculation you are doing, we will try to tell this to neural network. Whatsoever calculation you are doing inside this network, try to change, try to update that calculation so that next time you get this kind of image, you should be highlighting, you should be giving more bigger number in this neuron and smaller number in this neuron. Okay, just a small basic understanding. We are telling that next time when you will get an input like this, you should be giving bigger number in this neuron and smaller number and in this specific neuron, right? So we are telling our neural network, first of all, what we did, we gave the input. Based on that input, without any training also, neural network is giving any random output. Neural network have no idea about Sardar Khan or Shrikant, so the neural network is telling any XYZ thing. But now, based on the neural network's prediction or neural network's output, we are correcting that neural network. No, it's a Sardar Khan. It's this character is Sardar Khan. So update your calculation so that next time you get this kind of image, this kind of input, the image is basically the input, and input is what? Some specific numbers you are getting in the input layer. So next time, if you get this type of number, the calculation should be in such a way that this specific neuron is getting highlighted, right? So this neural network will update its parameter and it will try to make it more accurate to give the output as a Sardar Khan, right? Now let's take a scenario for Shrikant Tiwari. Okay, now see, here we have the Shrikant Tiwari with us, okay, saying Dimag Kharab hai mera. So we have Shrikant Tiwari saying some dialogue. So now we will be giving this input to our neural network, okay? Now this time neural network, in the previous input, the neural network already knows, some sort of features, some sort of factors about Sardar Khan. So it will, this calculation got updated to identify that kind of image as a Sardar Khan. So whenever the neural network will get that kind of image, the calculation will happen and this neuron will be highlighted. But now we are telling the another feature. So we are telling the neural network, okay, so if you are getting this kind of image, again, we will give it based on the calculation that got updated previously for the Sardar Khan. Based on that calculation, it will also try to make some prediction, make some output, whether this image belongs to Sardar Khan or Shrikant Tiwari. And again, we are not very confident that the prediction or the output is going to be very accurate. So if it is not making some accurate prediction or if it is not making any right output, what we will do this time, we will again supervise our neural network. We will guide our neural network that this person is Shrikant Tiwari. So if you are getting this type of image, you need to update your calculation to identify this type of image as a Shrikant Tiwari. And similarly, we will give a lot of images for the Sardar Khan also and for the Shrikant Tiwari also. And at the end of the entire training and everything, we give the image. The neural network is giving us some output. We are telling if the output is correct or not, right? We are calculating the error in the prediction in the output. And based on that error, we are again training. We are telling the neural network, no, this is the right output and this is what you are supposed to return. Based on that, error, based on that supervision, what we are telling to the neural network, it will try to update its calculation to make more accurate output for the next time. So that is how the basic neural network works. For the next video, we will be talking about its mathematics, what all calculation happens in this neuron, and how do we, tell that neuron how do we tell the neural network whether you are giving a right output or you are giving a wrong output? And after we give this information to the neural network, what will happen inside the neural network, so that it will start giving the more accurate output for the next time. So that's what we will discuss in the next class. The more practical, the more mathematical concept, more mathematical intuition behind the neural network and everything. I hope we got the architecture, we got the flow of neural networks, and we are ready for the next video. That's all for this. Hope this was informative, and if this gave some information, if it was helpful, please give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe to the channel so we can stay updated with the upcoming videos and everything. We are going to create the entire playlist for the deep learning. So like, this is the initial phase. We are not getting into too much the mathematics as of now, but gradually we will move into the more in-depth understanding of the different neural networks, its mathematics. And again, we will be exploring different types of neural networks. And at the end of that entire discussion, we'll be talking about the transformers, the transfer learning, and more interesting tools, more interesting researches that happen for face detection, object detection, Google translation, and all those things. So we will move to that state gradually. Right now we are at the basics, and everything is on the pipeline. Everything will be uploaded. Everything will be uploaded. Everything will be uploaded on the channel soon. Perfect. So that's all for the session. That's all for the video, guys. Thank you, everyone. Thanks all.